Action.
12, 12, 12, 12, 12. King K. Yo, what's good, kings and queens? It's your boy Dawn, and I'm back for another reaction video today. If you're new to the channel, go down below, hit the subscribe button, that notification bell, and hit all so you know every time I post, you heard. If you're not new to the channel, you already know what to do. Go down below, hit that like button. Yo, thank y'all for tuning back in, you heard. As y'all can see by this title and thumbnail, it just continues to get crazier. If you don't know, or if you haven't heard, they just had a recent school shooting in Atlanta. So I'm going to be reacting. I don't know if they're going to show the details of the actual shooting. Maybe they will give a little background. But I'm going to be reacting to it. Looks like they had their first court case. Like, this was like 2 days ago, I think the shooting happened maybe. So let's get right into it, y'all. Definitely my condolences to those families that lost not only those adults but those children, and I hope those other people that are healing are healing fast, you know, and that they recover and everything. It's going to be hard for everything to get back to normal, but like I said, one day at a time. I send my condolences, and man, pray for his family too, that they don't ever have to go through nothing like this again. This is crazy, man. I wonder, maybe they'll talk about what's going through the kid's head, but let's see, man. Let's get right into it, you heard.
All right, good morning, sir. Are you Mr. Colt Gray?
And my son is like 14.
My name is Curry Mingledorf. I'm assigned to preside over this morning's proceedings. Mr. Gray, I do need to inquire as to whether you're able to read and write the English language.
Yes, sir.
A little backstory, if y'all didn't hear about it, I guess he came into the school AK AR-15 and just went crazy, man. And apparently, I'm hearing, they may talk about it here as well, his dad was arrested as well for purchasing that AR-15 for him like a couple of weeks before maybe. He's 14 though. Not that that really matters, because there's mad kids out here, apparently they learn how to shoot from, you know, young, but it's about gun responsibility.
All right. I also want to inform you, well, I want to ask you, do you understand that you have the right to be represented by an attorney in these proceedings?
Yes, sir.
And you are, in fact, represented today, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Zane Harmon, you're here on behalf of this defendant, is that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. And you understand that you have the right to be continuously represented throughout this proceeding, and if you cannot afford to hire counsel, then this court is obligated under the Constitution to provide counsel for you without cost to you. All right. I am going to inform you of a few other matters, and I'm not going to ask you anything, just inform you. So one is, I want to make sure that you are aware that you have the right to remain silent. You don't have to say anything at all. And it's important to understand that, because anything you might say could be used against you at further proceedings associated with your case. I want to inform you of the charges that you currently face. In essence, you are charged with 4 counts of felony murder, as outlined in the state warrants that have been issued against you. I want to make you aware that the maximum penalty for felony murder, so for each count, the maximum penalty is that you could be punishable by death, by imprisonment for life, without parole, or by imprisonment for life, with the possibility of parole. If you have any questions about these charges, then I would urge you to discuss those with.
My fault, y'all, but one of the most importances you got to remember about this case is that most school shooters, they usually get killed in that situation. They don't make it out. So for whatever reason, this kid made it out with no scratches, and this is his case.
With your attorney. I would invite you, Mr. Harmon, to inform the court as to whether there's a request for bond at this time.
At this time, Your Honor, there is not a request for bond. We will file the appropriate motions if that becomes necessary.
All right. An indictment by the grand jury for most felony offenses or accusations, well, you have the right to receive an indictment for these offenses. And I assume Mr. Brad Smith is here on behalf of the DA's office, or he is our district attorney, and he's accompanied by Ms.
Yo, the full link to this video is going to be in the description, so y'all can check it out if y'all want to after this.
Is Patricia Brooks, who is his chief assistant. A preliminary hearing, you'll have the right also to a preliminary hearing, unless you make a bond, which of course at this point there's no bond being requested, or unless you waive such a hearing. You have the right to a speedy and public trial by a judge or jury. You have the right to confront and cross-examine all witnesses. You have the right to call witnesses on your own behalf and testify in your own defense if you so choose. As you sit here in this courtroom today, under the law, you are presumed innocent. Your refusal to testify at any point in any proceeding will not be used against you in determining whether you are guilty or not guilty. Counsel, let me just inquire as to whether there are any other items that the court should address before we conclude this preliminary hearing.
No, Your Honor.
Well, I do have one piece of information to convey to the court. There was a development yesterday afternoon that makes it necessary for our office to have alternate counsel appointed, and arrangements have already been made in that regard. I've already explained that to Mr. Gray, and alternate counsel will be appointed by the end of the day today.
All right, thank you very much, Ms. Donna C. Graves. All right, then with that, this hearing is concluded, and you may escort this defendant out. Right, with that, I understand that we have another appearance hearing. And at this hearing, I'm first going to ask you just a few questions, and then I'm going to advise you of your rights and also let you know about a preliminary hearing that's been scheduled.
So they might be giving him the same charges. Let's see.
For you. Why don't you just state your name, please? All right, you pull the microphone down, please. There you go. All right, and how old are you, Mr. Gray?
54.
And are you able to read and write and understand the English language without any difficulty?
Yes, sir.
How far did you go in school?
11th grade GED.
Okay. And I note that you have counsel seated with you at the table. Do you understand that you have the right to be represented by an attorney at all times for this and all future proceedings in your case?
Yes, sir.
And do you understand that, of course, if you cannot afford an attorney, that the public defender will be appointed to the system is working? And all right, so the following aren't questions that I'm going to ask. I'm just informing you of some things. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you at further hearings or at a trial on the charges that you're facing. For this hearing, you're not going to be questioned about facts and circumstances surrounding your charges.
So these must be some of the families of the students and parents and staff members.
You are currently charged with, and you'll be provided with copies of the warrants if you don't already have them. You're currently charged with 2 counts of felony
I think that's one of the kids' parents and stuff. Probably all of the kids' parents that passed away, yeah, because those are reserved.
murder in the second degree. With 2 counts of felony murder in the second degree. You're charged with 4 counts of felony involuntary manslaughter. You're charged with 8 counts of felony cruelty to children in the second degree. Now, for these offenses, for the
Crazy.
felony murder
Worst part about it is that could have been him in one of those seats.
counts in the second degree, felony murder in the second degree, the maximum penalty for each count is up to 30 years imprisonment. For
Dang.
felony involuntary manslaughter, of course, again, there are 4 counts. The maximum penalty for each of those offenses is 10 years imprisonment. For the 8 felony cruelty to children counts, the maximum penalty under the law for each of those 8 counts
My boy's
is
getting locked up.
10 years imprisonment, for a maximum total possible
80.
penalty for the charges that you currently are facing of 180 years
Right,
imprisonment.
180.
If you have questions about these charges, which I assume that you will, the court urges you to discuss those with your attorney.
Right.
Let me inquire as to whether there's a motion for bond, if Mr. Gray is moving for bond at this time.
No, sir, not at this time. We will allow alternate counsel to make that decision.
All right, thank
Okay.
you. All right, I also need to inform you that you have the right to an indictment by a grand jury, and you also have the right to a preliminary hearing unless you make bond or waive such a hearing. You have the right to a speedy and public trial by a judge or jury. You have the right to confront and cross-examine all witnesses. You have the right to call witnesses on your own behalf and testify in your own defense if you so choose. I want to make it clear to you, Mr. Gray, that you are presumed innocent. Your refusal to testify at any point cannot be used against you in determining whether you are guilty or not guilty. I mentioned the first appearance hearing a moment ago. That is being set for you for December 4th, 2024 at 8:30 a.m. Currently that's set to take place in the Magistrate Court of Barrow County.
So imagine waking up and going to work. Your kid goes to school, shoots it up. Now you locked up and you can't go back to work. Everything is on hold. Dang, man.
Could be subject to change, but I just want you to know that that is the date that we currently have. In fact, counsel, could you approach, please? I have this, let's see, I need to scratch this out.
He definitely looked more hurt than the
Discusses bond
kid.
and gives the date of the preliminary hearing. I guess I could sign that, and he could just get a copy of it. And then the warrants are attached to that. So I would like for him to sign it. Please.
Sign right there, just so you're getting a copy of this. He is getting you a copy. He'll give you a copy of all the warrants. Do you want me to go ahead and give him his copy?
Yes, please.
And the page continues. I'll put it on the first one.
Yeah, nah, my boy
Once the
hurt.
presence of our district attorney, Mr. Brad Smith, he's assisted by his chief.
But he ain't more hurt.
Those who
And these people right
this
here.
matter is adjourned.
Those the real hurt
Proceedings
people.
today. And with that, this matter is adjourned.
The attorney who's going to represent you, his name is James Rogers. We're going to make that official later today. He'll come and see you probably the first part of next week.
Yo, the saddest part about it all is that whether the father believed that it was his fault or not, it's not even in his hands no more. That's the craziest part. Now, I'm going to see if I can find, I don't know what type of video they're going to have on the actual situation. But if y'all haven't checked it out, definitely go check it out. You heard. This is just so tragic, man. Like, what middle school kid wants to wake up and think about something like this, or think about having to duck and dodge and bullets at that, like from one of their classmates? It's crazy, man. Moral of the story is, as a parent, you got to be a little more responsible with your child. And as a child, listen to your parents, man. Stop trying to get them in trouble trying to be grown. It ain't up to you. Just shot a bit before this, about to go shoot another one right now, you are. I'm going to see y'all there. So meet me there. Peace. Love. Dawn. You know the vibes. DONLILREACTS. Y'all already know what to do. You heard. Hit that subscribe button. Notification bell. Thank y'all for popping out. Peace. Love. Dawn. You know the vibes.